Hi Stefan, maybe you will finally listen, and if you are wondering if you can just beat home and stop me from doing this, then leaving it's too late. I'm sending you this after I've already loaded everything in the car and left. Don't worry, I spoke with our landlords and took my name off the lease. I've set up a direct deposit for the next month's rent. After that, you here on your own. And see you, buddy. I guess you were wondering why I am guessing you will act like you her completely blindsided, right? Because you've done absolutely nothing wrong, and you hear a great husband and father to be. Art re to you, well, Mobberty, let me break it down for you in a language you understand. I, 29F, have been married to my husband 35M for 5 years, and we've been together for nearly 10. On paper, everything seemed fine, but in reality, our marriage has been anything but I've reached my breaking point, and I need to know if I bink the one in the wrong here from the beginning. My mail has been a nightmare. She made everything about her from day one. At our wedding, she wore white, claiming it was a family tradition. It wasn't. She constantly criticizes me from my cooking to my appearance. I will never forget the time she called me fat at a family gathering, right in front of everyone. And what did my husband do? Nothing. It didn't stop there. She has accidentally destroyed my belongings, including my grandmother's necklace, which she threw out because it looked like cheap costume jewelry. She's gone out of her way to make me feel small and unwelcome in my own home, but every time I tried to talk to my husband about it, he brushed it off, saying I was overreacting or being too emotional. And then there was my husband. He dargs always on ace, constantly giving strangers relationship advice, which is laughable considering how he treats me. He spends more time rating women's boobs on Howd than talking to me. I too. And just so you know, the last pair he rated weren't a 4 out of 10. They were a 10 out of 10. Ideas. He's got plenty of time to do that, but can maybe bothered to remember anything about my life. He will forget my birthday, our anniversary, even simple things like what I'm working on or what's important to me, but he has a perfect memory for his work schedule and things that matter to him. When we fight, he becomes incredibly hostile and always throws in a sarcastic capspiel at the end of his sentences, like I am some acquaintance he can barely tolerate, and he never cleanse. The house, the dishes, laundry, you name it, it's all on me. It's like he thinks being an adult is optional as long as he's got his job and his ACE account. The final straw came a few weeks ago. I'm 5 months pregnant with our first child, a daughter. My mail started making comments about how she will have to empathy whip the girl into shape, and how she will raise her to be upper top. When I told my husband that I didn't want his mother to have too much influence on our daughter, especially with the way she treats me, he just laughed it off, saying his mother means well and that I was make grief thinking it. But the moment that truly broke me was when we were talking about future childcare, and my husband suggested that his mother should watch our daughter while we work. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that, especially considering how his mother treats me, and he snapped. He called me spow paranoid and said I should project over it because his mother was going to be a big part of our daughter's life whether I liked it or not. This is the same woman who believes corporal punishment is okay. I've seen her hit my husband's nephew for the smallest things, and no one does anything about it. It's like they are all living in some kind of cult, and I'm finally waking up to the reality of what's going on. If he wouldn't stand up for me, how could I expect him to stand up for our child? I started to fear for what kind of environment our daughter would grow up in, a place where she might be belittled or bullied by her own grandmother, with a father who wouldn't do anything to stop it. Oh, and did I mention that he missed our first ultrasound? His mother needed him to help her with something urgent. It turned out to be fixing her Wi-Fi. I am done living like this. Oh, and in case you are wondering, I've already contacted a lawyer. You cannot scare me into complying anymore because I have all those texts. You know exactly which ones I am talking about. So Stefan, I wish you all the best in your future marriage with your mother and the women of Isu's boobs you don't even deserve.